Hello, Giants fans. Welcome to Giants Baseball 101. I'm Gabe Vaughn, your host. Now, here's the big question for today. Which Giants player is most likely to go to the All-Star game? And I'm making a separate guess for position players and pitchers, and we're doing position players first. And I think you first have to ask the question, how will Giants fans vote? Are they all going to make sure they vote for, say, Brandon Crawford and Brandon Belt because they were longtime Giants fan favorites and they were World Series champions 3 times with the Giants? And if that's the case, I would say one of them is most likely. I also understand multiple Giants players could be seen in it, like that was what happened last year. The Giants were such a great team. But I do want to pick the one that I think would be most likely we're going to see in the All-Star game. And I don't know how to balance everything mathematically. I'm just saying the question we'd have to answer is what would be important to Giants fans who vote. Because I think if you're talking about other teams' fans who they want to vote for the best players they can get, from their perspective, the player most likely that they would vote for the Giants is Jock Pederson, because Pederson has been the best on the Giants this year in terms of position players. So just fans in general, I would say Jock Pederson would definitely be the most likely pick, the most likely one to be selected to the All-Star game. He has 14 home runs. But then you got to zoom in a little and say, how would the Giants fans vote? And I, probably one of the biggest Giants fans around here, I have chosen to vote for all Giants players on the National League in the All-Star game. I voted the Giants nominee at every position. That's what I use my 5 votes for every single day, at least in the National League. In the American League, I just vote for the player I want. It's a different team, I think, pretty much each position, although I'm not saying there isn't some overlap. I'd have to check on that again. But yeah, like I said, since I'm a Giants fan in the National League, I just chose the Giants nominee at every position. Not all Giants fans will do that. Some of them will just want to vote for the best players in the National League. So if you're thinking from their perspective too, it would be Jock Pederson that would be most likely if they choose to vote for a Giants player, because he has the best record of all the Giants players, as I've checked it out. Because they nominate the best at every position, of course, for the All-Star game. So that would definitely be Jock Pederson. But to which Giants fans, you also wonder, is it going to just be extremely important to have Brandon Crawford or Brandon Belt, or both of them in the All-Star game, because they were world champions in 2014, 2012, and 2010. Fan favorites for a long time. Just about, well, a whole lot of stores that sell Giants propaganda would have jerseys with Crawford or Belt on the back. I mean, those are just popular. Almost any Giants fan knows about them and has known about them for a long time. So that's what might be important to some Giants fans, getting Crawford and Belt in the All-Star game. And of course, they can vote for different players at different positions. Crawford is the nominee for shortstop. Belt is the nominee for first base. So that isn't really the point. They can vote for them. They can vote for Jock Pederson in the outfield or whatever outfielder they want. But if you're just asking me to choose which Giants player is most likely to go to the All-Star game, it's certainly between Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt, and Jock Pederson. And I obviously can't predict how it would mathematically work out between everybody. How important will it be this year for Giants fans to get Crawford and Belt in the All-Star game just because of who they are, the place they occupy in the minds of all Giants fans? I think to a lot of Giants fans, that's going to be important, and they're going to want to vote for those guys. Now, I still think, if you're asking me to make a prediction, I still think Jock Pederson is probably the forerunner, since you kind of have to look at what a lot of fans are going to be thinking, since all fans vote for this, and I don't think that they all just vote for their team's nominee. I think some of them just say, we want to have a great game, we're voting for the best players. And some of them, it is the players that are just kind of the hot shots around the league. And some fans, yeah, I would think they're kind of like me, and they do want to vote for their players. So what's the proportion of fans that want Brandon Crawford and Brandon Belt in, as opposed to fans who want just maybe the best players in? Then the category of Giants fans who maybe they want the Giants in, but they also want the best players, so they're just going to make sure they vote for maybe a couple of Giants, but the ones that have the best records. And Crawford and Belt have definitely had some great hits this year. I really don't want to underestimate them statistically. I don't want to underestimate their records. I also think Belt had some time on the injured list. So would he have hit more than 5 home runs if given the chance? I think that's really likely, man. But Pederson, he has 14 home runs. You can't deny that. Just multiply that by whatever amount of time there is in the rest of the season. What would he have? Just a very good record on the season with the Giants. Also, there are going to be Giants fans who maybe they just want Mike Yastrzemski and Darren Ruff on the All-Star team since they've been around for a little while on the Giants. I mean, I don't know the taste of every Giants fan, but there's plenty of middle ground. They could want to prioritize players that have been around for a few years, too. All of this being true, I'm still maintaining that I think Jock Pederson has to be fast becoming a fan favorite. So I think that for those who vote for Giants players, they're going to have to not pass him by. And because of the fact that you can vote for multiple players and you can vote for a player at each position, I have to say, and I know outfielders, I didn't check on them all. Go to that outfield section and you'll find players not just Giants, of course. Even though we like to think our Giants are the best team in baseball, I don't think that that's quite the case this year. There are going to be outfielders who have better records, and some fans and even some Giants fans will just say, okay, I'm going to vote for the outfielders that have the most home runs, which it's to hit like over 15 home runs the first half of the season is, I'll just say that's an accomplishment. It does mean that a player is having, well, a pretty good year. So there could be some leeway on both sides, whether it's Crawford and Belt they're going to be prioritizing, or the just kind of, if you're looking at the players with the most home run totals, and I hope they look at the batting averages. I still hope people value hitting for average in this modern day baseball league. So if you're asking me, and I could be wrong, since we have to go with just the total sum of information for the fans in this entire baseball league, I would predict Jock Pederson as probably the most likely Giant. He's the first one I would predict to be in this All-Star game. If any Giants are, basically if any Giants are in the All-Star game, any Giants position players, I would expect Jock Pederson to be. If you want to email me about this, that's great. I would love to have fans email me. But now, I think it's time to go on to the pitchers and see which pitcher is most likely. I'm already predicting Carlos Rodon. I just think him and Logan Webb, he's been pretty good this season too. I think Rodon would have a bit better of a record though. And while I would like to see either of them in the All-Star game, I think that Rodon is the most likely Giants pitcher. But let me also say, we can't forget about the relievers. I honestly think that it's just not right that relievers who don't have a lot of save totals aren't selected to the All-Star games that much. There are things about baseball that are just not right, and that's got to be one of them. I'm not exactly sure how pitchers are selected. I thought the managers kind of did it, but I've also heard it was a combo of that and fans getting ballots. I'm not sure how fans access a ballot for pitchers. If you are in a position of having a chance to vote on that, I'm not sure if you are or how this works, but if you are, I'm just asking you, please don't vote for any closers. And it's not that closers aren't usually pretty good pitchers. It's just, do you know why they get in? It's because of their save totals. Well, what about the pitchers who pitch the 7th and 8th innings? They could pitch a scoreless inning just as often and just not be awarded a save for it. I get that the 9th inning is the highest pressure situation. That gives the closer some credit there, but all the same, I think that, and even though a closer is often the best pitcher on a team, well, the best reliever on a team, I think sometimes that just doesn't work that way with the records, because a lot of times there are other relievers who, they're just as good, but they can't show their save totals on their statistics because they weren't placed in save situations. That's why I'm just exasperated with the fact that regular relief pitchers aren't always treated on equal grounds with closers with large save totals. Because look, it makes a difference what situation you were put in. That's why I want relievers who are not often used as the closer, I want even them to get a chance to be in the All-Star game. So I'm not saying it's right. The way this is, I guessed Rodon was the best Giants option. I'm not saying it's right that the starters and closers carry it, but I'm just saying that may be the way that it is for a while. So this is my best guess for now. So I wouldn't encourage any more support for the closers getting into the All-Star games because of what effect it would have on it that they're put in the ninth inning. I mean, the setup pitchers, they're just not put in the ninth inning. They're often just as good, and they're often even better. So if you're wondering why I picked a starter for the Giants, and yeah, starting pitchers, whether they're the ace for the team, the number one spot, or just a pitcher in a different spot who's pitching better than the number one pitcher, they get into the All-Star game. They pretty much carry it. So I guess Carlos Rodon. I'm not forgetting about the Giants relievers. I'm just saying I think this is the way it is, even though it's not right. But Rodon has been a great pitcher for the Giants this year. I truly would like to see him in the All-Star game. And I think just between a yes and a no, I think the answer to whether he's going to be in it is yes, to be honest. That's my best guess. They have to select some good pitchers to carry it. I can't say whether he'll pitch in the game or not. I think he's just going to be on the list. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Giants Baseball 101. Hey, I'm sorry that I forgot to put my email address in the description box last time. I try to remember to put it in every video. It's gabrielvaughn89@gmail.com. I'll put it in the description box this time. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not. I would really love any effort to make this popular. So please subscribe so you can get all of these videos. I'm going to see you next time on Giants Baseball 101.